Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be going over what to buy and what to avoid this week in Grand Theft Auto Online. Now this week is not that good in most ways, but in one way it is quite good. So anyway, before we get into that, go ahead and leave a like on the video if you enjoy it, dislike if you don't, and consider subscribing to my channel if you guys are new. And with that being said, we're going to talk about the plane sitting here behind me, which is the Western Rogue, which is 40% off this week, which is a really good discount for the Rogue. This thing is a two-seater, obviously propeller plane, which is a little bit interesting, but it is quite fast. Don't let the propeller fool you. It is extremely fast. It's also equipable with explosive machine guns on it and homing and non-homing missiles, as well as bombs. It's really good. This plane is extremely good. We're gonna talk about it a little bit more when we go to Warstock and see it on the website and everything like that, but all you need to know is that it is a really good plane, and if you don't have one, or if you're in the market for a good attack plane, fighter plane, anything like that, the Rogue is a great option this week, and I would highly recommend it. But anyways, before we get into that, we got to go over the weekly challenge this week, which is to do 3 stash houses this week, and if you do it, you're going to receive a bonus $100,000, which is pretty awesome. Now, what is by far the best money bonus of the week, and probably over the next, 3 months, is we have double money and double RP on the Titan job from the Oscar Guzman Flies Again finale. Now, this normally pays like $700K, and from what I understand, on hard mode, this will pay about $1.6 million for about an hour's work, which is really insane. It's like better than Prime KO Perico, which is kind of insane to think about. From what I've also heard, there may or may not be a replay glitch that is available for it. Now, I haven't even completed it for the first time, so I know absolutely nothing about this, but I have seen rumors of that online, so if that's something you're interested in doing, I mean, I didn't tell you to do it, but it might be a thing that you could potentially do. But anyways, the other bonus that we have this week is on the Vespucci Job Remix. Now, these are all going to be double money and double RP. To be honest, I have never ever done these. I think it's something similar to the Italian job, which is like kind of a play on it, obviously. And I think you just have to escape the cops, but I'm really not sure. I'm going to try these out this week, I think. It seems pretty interesting, and it's double money and double RP, so why not? I'd recommend for you to maybe try it out as well, if it's something that even interests you remotely. All right, and time to get into the discounts. Let's go ahead and hop in here, and we're going to go ahead and start off on Elitist Travel. And on here, we have the Sea Sparrow discount, and let's check. No more discounts on here, correct? Yes, no more discounts on here. On here, we got the Sea Sparrow. It's going for just under $1.1 million. Now, something that is important to note about the Sea Sparrow is this is not the same Sparrow that comes in your Kasatka. It is the Sparrow, but of course it has pontoons on it so it can land on the water, which occasionally can be kind of useful. For example, some CEO cargo source missions will have you go out to the water and, shoot a flare and the crates will drop and you have to pick them up. The Sea Sparrow is kind of interesting for that sort of stuff. Overall, I do feel like it is a little bit overpriced for what you're actually getting. Now, it is weaponizable. You can also have the homing missiles on it or the machine guns on it like the regular Sparrow, but you can have either the machine guns or the missiles. So it's kind of annoying that you can't have both and cycle between them. So you can either have the missiles or not. And you also will need to own a hangar in order to own this thing as well. It might be worth it. If you already have a Sparrow, I'd say don't buy it. If you have a Buzzard, I'd say don't buy it. I just don't really think it's got enough utility with the pontoons. Like, if it was maybe a little bit more discounted, and maybe 50% off, maybe it'd be slightly more worth it. But overall, I do think it is just a little bit too expensive for what you're actually getting. And of course, again, you cannot store this in your Kasatka. It is a different Sparrow than the Kasatka Sparrow, in case you didn't understand that. I would say to avoid the Sea Sparrow this week. I simply just don't think you're going to use it enough to justify it. But of course, do with that information what you will. Over on Warstock Cash and Carry, we got the Streamer 216 discounted this week as well, 40% off. This plane is just useless. I would not bother with it at all whatsoever. It kind of operates like a glider, and it's not really that fast. It is weaponizable. You can put front mounted machine guns on it, but like that's pretty much it. And the Streamer is just, it's not overly fast. It's not overly maneuverable. It's just not overly great. And for this much money, I do think it is way too much money to justify purchasing it. So I would recommend against getting the Streamer 216. It's just simply not worth it. And we have another discount here on Warstock before we get down to the Rogue. We have the RO86 Alkonost discount discounted this week, 20% off, which is a really bad discount. This plane is also absolutely massive, which unfortunately makes it kind of useless in a lot of scenarios because you can't really land it safely at Sandy Shores Airfield. You certainly cannot land it at the Mackenzie Field hangar either. You can land it at Fort Zancudo, as you can see in the picture here, and LSIA, but even at LSIA, it is still going to be really annoying to land because of the little signs that are in between the runways, so I would just not really recommend the Alconost. Now, there is something that is kind of cool about it, and when you get to a certain height with the vehicle, it does have the stealth capability, which you can see activates at 500 meters in the air or higher. So that is kind of cool. I think for these price tags, like, it's just insane. So I really do not recommend picking up the Alconost. I think it is way too overpriced for what you're getting, and I think it's way too inconvenient to even be kind of fun, honestly. Like, you're really not going to get a good chance to use this thing. I just don't think it's worth it. So I would avoid the Alconost at all costs. And finally, we're down at the Western Company Rogue, $720,000 if you have the trade price, and $957,600 if you do not have the trade price. Either of these price tags are insanely cheap, particularly the trade price, but even under $1 million for the Rogue is a crazy price to pay. So I would say, as I said, you should pick one up. It's a two-seater, it is weaponizable, it's very maneuverable, you can change the handling on it, you can upgrade the engine on it, you can do all of that within your hangar workshop. So I would highly recommend picking up a Rogue. I think it is a very worthwhile plane, very good investment. You will not regret buying one of these things. It is absolutely insane. Fair warning though, with race handling on it, it is super sensitive, so that is something to just be aware of. Still a great plane, definitely buy one. Absolutely worth it. Over on Legendary Motorsport, we got the Benefactor SM722 discounted this week for $1,480,500. I really can't justify this car's purchase price for that much money. If it was 40% off, I'd be a little bit more inclined to recommend it, but overall, it's not the greatest car performance-wise. It is a really cool tribute to Sterling Moss that Mercedes did a few years back, and this is obviously just the GTA version of that. But I just don't really think it's worth it. The performance is not really that great. It's not really a fun car to drive. The customization is not that awesome. And for under 1.5 mil, like just under 1.5 mil, I feel like you can do a lot better with your money. For example, you can buy a Pegassi Taurus and a Canis Camacho, fully upgrade both of them, and still have enough money left over for like some of the cars at the dealerships this week, which are removed and really cool. So I just don't really think the SM722 is super worth it. If you want it, by all means buy it, but I would say for the vast majority of you, it is not going to be a good purchase. Moving down a little further, we have the Grotti Furia here for $1,918,000 if you don't have the trade price, or $1,438,500 if you do have the trade price. Now, I absolutely love the Furia. It is one of my favorite looking Grotti cars in Grand Theft Auto Online. I think it looks really good. Kind of reminds me of the Ferrari 488, even though it's actually based off of a Pininfarina, I do believe it is, or maybe a Di Tommaso, but it is a really cool car. It's all-wheel drive, it has great acceleration, great launch. However, the top speed is not that fantastic on it. I think it's only about 124, which is not all that high, especially for a supercar, and especially a supercar that costs this much money. And with HSW factored in now on PC as well as Xbox Series S and X and PlayStation 5, I just really don't think it's worth picking up anymore for the amount of money that it costs. Very cool looking car, nice customization options for it as well. If you want one, buy one, but I would say for the majority of you, it's really not going to be worth your time to purchase this thing, especially if you have HSW cars available on your platform. I would just say avoid this thing entirely. If you don't have HSW available, it is still a fairly nice car and it is kind of fast, but overall I still just don't feel like it's really worth the amount of money that it does cost. So again, do with that information what you will. And finally, for the last discount on the websites, we got the Enos Deity going for just under $1 million. And this is if you have the trade price. If you don't have the trade price, it's going to be about 1.2, maybe 1.3 million, somewhere in that neighborhood. This thing does have Amani Tech upgrades, including armor plating, and it does come with bullet resistant windows that can take about 15 shots from an assault rifle. Something to note about it is that it is rear wheel drive, so it gets a really bad launch off the line. However, customization wise, it's absolutely awesome. I think it's a great looking car. Handling wise, it's okay as well. Top speed wise, it's okay as well. Overall, I would say if you can get it for the trade price, it might be worth purchasing if you were in the market for a nice luxurious sedan that can also be equipped with armor plating and have the missile lock-on jammer, oil slick mines, and optional front-mounted machine guns as well. It is really nice for this price tag. However, if you just want a good Amani Tech car, I would spend a little bit of extra money and just get the Bravado Buffalo STX because it's better than the Deity in pretty much every way. Other than looks, you might be able to argue that the Deity is better looking. I personally don't think so, but you may think so. If you got a ton of money and you've already got some other Amani Tech cars, I mean, you could purchase it, but it's not going to be the greatest Amani Tech vehicle of all time for you, so just be aware of that. Alright, so that is it for the discounts on the website. It's time to go to the casino, the car meet, and all the dealerships and talk about the vehicles that are available at all those places. Within the casino this week, we have the Maibatsu Monstrosity available to be won as the podium vehicle. It is a pretty solid vehicle. It's got the Amani Tech missile lock-on jammer available for it, and now it has HSW available for it on PC if you guys are on PC. Of course, Xbox Series S and X and PlayStation 5 already have that, but it is new on PC, so you guys may want to consider trying to get it. Within the LS car meet, we have the Enos Windsor Drop available to be won, and in order to win that, you're going to have to place top 5 for 3 days in a row, which is not a bad challenge, and for the car you're getting, I think it is pretty worth it. The Enos Windsor Drop is a really cool convertible vehicle. Not much in the way of customization, but it looks really good as it is, so I would definitely recommend trying to win this thing. The challenge is not that hard. As far as the vehicles go, within the LS car meet, we have the Grotti Carbonizzaire here on the left, we have the Pagasi Torero in the middle, and the Overflawed Entity XF on the right. And all three of these are removed from the website, so you cannot normally purchase them. The Entity XF is going for $795,000, the Torero is going for $998,000, and the Carbonizzaire is $195,000. The Carbonizzaire has very little customization options, same with the Entity XF. Both of them are removed and OG cars though, so I do actually really recommend picking them up if you're remotely interested in either of them. I think they are very worth it. Carbonizzaire is also a convertible, which is really sweet, and I think it looks awesome. For $195K, you really cannot go wrong with it. The Entity XF is a lot more expensive, however, I do still think it is a pretty cool car, but you may want to consider purchasing some other things this week, especially if you don't have a ton of money. If you do have a ton of money, I definitely recommend it, but if you don't have a ton of money, I would definitely steer clear of the XF and make some more important purchases like businesses and things like that. As far as the Torero goes, unfortunately, it is a complete pile of shit, kind of like the Countach in real life. Everybody loves the thing, but in practice, it's just not that awesome of a vehicle. Unfortunately, the handling's not that good. I do believe it also has engine resistance, which really sucks. I just don't think it's worth purchasing. It does have some really nice customization options, I will say that, but for like $1 million, it is kind of really overpriced in my opinion. We also have the Sterling GT as the HSW test track vehicle, in case you guys are wondering about it. I would definitely come and give it a shot if you're even remotely interested in eventually picking up a Sterling GT. Alright, and within Simeon's dealership here, we have the Albany Alpha starting us off for $150,000. I do believe this thing is. Yes, it is. Some nice customization. Overall, it's a pretty fun car. It's also removed, so I would definitely say to get the Alpha if you got garage space for it. And especially if you have all your businesses and everything set up like that, and there's nothing better you can spend 150 grand on. I do think it is a pretty cool car, although it is kind of ugly, I will say that. The Dingaveris is also in here as well. And it is kind of really overpriced, I do believe. 216 grand. I mean, if you're in the market for an ATV, I mean, maybe, but yeah, kind of overpriced in my opinion. We also have the Pagasi SK here available as well, going for 287,000. I mean, it's not that awful of a price for a motorcycle, but you can definitely get better performance for like 15 grand with the Botti 801, so I would definitely recommend doing that if you're interested in performance. Still a cool looking bike, some good customization as well, so that is available as well. Have the Grotti Cheetah going for $650,000, I do believe it is. Not much in the way of customization for this thing. It is one of my favorite cars in the game, so I really do like it, but I can't lie, it's not the greatest car ever. It actually really sucks comparatively to a lot of other cars in this game, so I would not necessarily recommend purchasing it unless you're just buying it purely because you like the car. And of course, we got the Grotti GT500 here as well. Decent car, a little bit on the expensive side though, $809,500, which I think is kind of a lot of money for what you're getting. Not a whole lot in the way of customization either with this thing, so I would say to avoid the GT500. I need to stop coming to luxury autos, but we got the Chavos V6 and the Andis Euro 632. They both came out with the latest DLC, so, or second latest DLC, like 3 months ago. So yeah, really special stuff. All right, and these are the vehicles available to be stolen in the chop shop this week. We have the Benefactor SM722 as the most expensive car this week, and in order to get it, you're going to need to complete the podium robbery. We also have the Benefactor Schlagen GT, and in order to get that, you're going to need to complete the cargo ship robbery. And for the Albany Roosevelt Valor or Valor, you're going to need to complete the Gangbanger robbery. But unfortunately, none of these vehicles are claimable, so you cannot keep any of them as a personal vehicle. The priority file within the Garment Factory this week is the Fine Art file, and the gun van location for today, the day that the video is actually coming out. The gun van is located right here on the map, just by the big water pipes that go up from the highway and down back into the reservoir area. And within the gun van this week, we have some pretty good stuff. I know that we have the L Strickler in here, and we also have the Up and Atomizer, which is sweet, as well as the Service Carbine, the Combat Shotgun, the Marksman Rifle, the Assault Rifle, and the Nightstick, which is pretty cool. For throwables, you got pipe bombs, stickies, and grenades. And for body armor, it's discounted, so that's cool. Your RC Bandito time trial for today is Cypress Flats. Your Junk Energy time trial for today is Mirror Park. Your regular time trial for the week is Elysian Island 2. And your HSW time trial starts at the Quartz Building and ends at Mount Gordeau, right around here. Anyway guys, there you have it. That has been it for what to buy and what to avoid this week in Grand Theft Auto Online. If you enjoyed the video, if you learned something, a like is of course appreciated, if not dislike, and consider subscribing to my channel if you guys are new. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, take care. Peace.